Finally, after a long week, Sixers took on the Heat tonight, first game, back from the All-Star break. And I tell you, it seemed like a lot longer than a week without having basketball on. It sucked. I was just like looking and waiting. There literally isn't anything on. You don't have any football to bounce off. Baseball's starting to just kick up with some spring training, but there's really nothing to watch. So Sixers take on the Heat team, who are fighting for a position. They are 26-31 now with that defeat tonight. Dwayne Wade's last hurrah, his last roll call for the season. As you know, he's retiring after this year. So you look at the Sixers team, no JoJo. Big deal, okay? Because there's some knee soreness. I just think the Sixers are just saying that to kind of pair it off and have an excuse to say that they're just going to rest him just for shits and gigs. But, so no JoJo, no big piece to the puzzle, but we got the rest of this team. We don't really need JoJo. So if everybody freaking out saying, oh, you know, it is a huge cog to this team, but with the pieces we have now, we shouldn't really have to rely on JoJo missing games like we did before we had Butler, Tobias, and the rest of the gang. Okay, because this team should win without Embiid. No problems asked. Okay, they looked awful tonight. Was it all-star rust? I would try to blame it on that, but this is the Sixers that we've watched all season. They get out to a little bit of a lead, then they blow it, and then they scuttle. They can't score. You know, they let the team go on 11-0 runs, 8-0 runs, and we just struggle to get our offense going. I do love what I saw out of Marjanovic tonight. I thought he looked great. I think he was a great replacement for JoJo. He put in 19 points, 12 boards. So I thought he was very effective. But if you look at it, it was a good game plan because of who he went up against. You look at Hassan Whiteside, he's a bigger center, not really an offensive threat. So you don't have to worry about him on the defensive end with Bobo defending him, okay? And you don't have to worry about him beating him with your quickness either. So that matchup was perfect to have Bobo play all these, or Bobby, whatever you want to call him. I like to call him Bobo. But perfect matchup for him tonight. And you saw Bolden got a roll call. Finally, Bolden. We've been waiting to see. This guy hasn't gotten any game action for 4 games. We were atrocious from downtown tonight, 7-26. That's like a whopping 20-some% from behind the arc. JJ was off tonight, 3-10 from downtown. Like I said, I was a little worried of what we were going to get out of the center position because Boban isn't like an offensive threat, really. He gets putbacks. He's got a little bit of a post game. But how about the floater from the big fella? I thought he was going to fill huge minutes. We got absolutely jack squat from the bench tonight. Cannot happen. You look at both benches, 41 points from the Heat's bench tonight. We got 12, okay? Defensively, we were lackadaisical. We were missing our spots. I mean, they were getting one passes and getting to the bucket with ease and scoring. Not happening. Not good enough. That's just pure laziness right there. Not boxing out on a couple plays. So, you know, you want to say it's some all-star rust, but this is the shit we've been seeing from the Sixers all year. Okay, we win the turnover battle yet again, 15 turnovers, sloppy with the basketball. That's been our MO since Brett Brown has run this team. Just absolutely sloppy. Ben struggled a little bit in the beginning of the game, but I loved what I saw out of him in the second half. Going straight to the post game, he put on some really sweet moves. That's what I want to see out of Ben Simmons offensively. You go down on the post and you put in work. You know, he took guys to the gym, no problem. He actually took over the third quarter and got us back into this game and gave us a 6-point lead at one point. So kudos to Ben for having a great game and making up for what he did in the first half because I didn't think he was going up strong. He was getting fouled. He was looking for bailouts. He wasn't. I want to see him take it up strong and dunk the basketball. That's what he's got to do, especially when he's going to be surrounded. I think he panics, he gets worried, and he looks for a foul to bail him out. It doesn't happen. What's up, Mitch? So, all the starters were in double figures, but we still need the bench. We want to rely on the bench to really kick it up and give us at least 30 to 40 points per night. It's just, it was not our night. We could not hit from downtown at all. Even Harris struggled in the beginning. He was only 3 of 7 from downtown, a very prolific three-point shooter. Same with Mike Scott. He missed a couple wide-open threes. But collectively, they were able to get it done. Thank God the Heat are an anemic, and inept at scoring the basketball because they're a bunch of scrubs. That team stinks. The only thing they have going for them is Eric Spoelstra. He's a fantastic coach. If he was ever to hit the market, I would love for the Sixers to pursue him. He has really held that organization together and made them look somewhat of a NBA team, just having the lack of talent that has really been there over the years. Other than Dwayne Wade, and then, of course, when they had the big trio of Bosh and LeBron. But other than that, I mean, you look at, like, Josh Richardson, Magruder, like, freaking... who else is there? James Johnson, like, garbage players right now. I mean, Richardson's okay, but he's got a great scheme, makes them work hard, they play great defense, and we always struggle against the Heat, and Dwayne Wade kills us all the time. The guy's like 100 years old, okay? You could tell. He just looks like he's worn down. He looked like he's worked at the Gap for the past 25 years. The bags under his eyes. He looks all scruffy. Oh, man. Flash. I used to love watching that kid play back in the day. You know, with him and Shaq in the '06 finals against the Mavs. He was unbelievable. I mean, he's still good. He put in 19 points. He's crafty with the basketball. He can score in a multitude of ways. That floater killed us all night. He got to his position. He got to his spots, and he murdered us down in the paint tonight. But we were able to come away with a win, and I think we did get lucky. Because of their lack of offense on that team and lack of talent, we were able to hold them to close to it. And they still scored over 100 points. You know, a team like that shouldn't score more than 85 if you were a prolific defensive team. But you know how the Brett Brown teams go. Play no defense. It's like he's even adopted the Mike D'Antoni form of action of just like trying to run up and down and play absolutely no D. But I would like to give this win to the Sixers because of Ben Simmons and Boban Marjanovic. I think they really gave us key points and key defense, or the lack thereof, towards the end of the game. Bobo putting in them 19 points was huge and grabbing 12 boards, and then again Simmons taking over in the third quarter and going down on the post and just putting in work. I thought really willed us. But, okay, you have two other games now that are going to be very difficult. You've got two West Coast teams coming here. Or not coming here. We go out to Oklahoma City. They already played here. But you've got Portland on Saturday, who's a very good team. I still think they're still fourth in the West. You got Dame Lil and McCollum, and they've got a very good coach there as well. And then you go out to Oklahoma City, and you all know what happened there. You got Russ, and you've got MVP candidate Paul George, who killed us on that last shot when he was here and willed them to victory when we went through that murderous road stretch. And without JoJo. So that's going to be big, especially with those two teams. Because of the way they shoot the three. Okay, and that's one of our weaknesses on defense, guarding the perimeter. So we're really going to have our A game. I'm really liking Hope Ben does what he did tonight and doesn't really look to pass more often than taking over a game, because I think he could destroy. They don't really have a good front court. They don't have any big guys. Like Nurkic is okay, guy they got from the Nuggets. But it all runs through Dame Lil and McCollum. They are prolific three-point shooters. They're good jump shooters. They could get to the rack at any time, and they move the ball very well. So that game's really going to worry me. We have a matinee. It's at 1 o'clock on Saturday, and then an Oklahoma City game without JoJo. Okay, we barely beat them with JoJo last time. Yes, we didn't have Tobias Harris and Bobo and Mike Scott, but we're going to have to bring it. Definitely. And of course there's going to be a little bit of rust after the All-Star game. You saw that a little bit, but they still have to pick it up. The rotations I thought were awful again tonight. What kills me about Brett is you take 3/4 of the starters out, and then you just leave Simmons in there, and then you play him with all these bench players. Okay, why do that? Let him play with Jimmy, leave Jimmy in there, take out maybe Boban and Tobias and JJ, and then sporadically just leave them out. Like, don't take them all out at once and then bring them all back in at once, too. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's just idiotic, you know what I mean? You just sit there scratching your head like, what the frick are you doing, dude? It's just so basic and one-track mind, you know? And then we were great. And I think what kept us in this game, too, earlier when we were building our lead is we were getting to the line. I mean, they were getting fouls left and right, and we were doing good from the free throw line. I mean, we still did okay. I think we ended up missing like 9 free throws. Oh, no, 10 overall. I think we were 25 from 35. But what gets me is if you were a good coach, you want to get to the point of attack. We had them in the penalty in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes and 25 seconds to go. And the only time we went to the free throw line was when we had a minute left, maybe 58 seconds left, when Boban went to the line to get his 20th point, 19th and 20th point, respectively. So, you know, a good coach in my mind would be like, let's keep attacking, let's keep building on what has got us that lead, instead of like sitting here and trying to pull teeth. Because I see this all too often. I just want us to be able to take over a team. Okay? Yes, our best player is not playing, but that's not an excuse anymore, because you have collectively, you have a very good team. You've got Ben Simmons, who's an up-and-coming beast, if he ever can develop that jumper. Okay? But look at the post work he's doing. Amazing. And then you got the rest of the guys that could take over. You got Jimmy, and it's incorporating them all in there. But when you have a team who you've been getting to the line on, by the way, you had 17 free throws in the second quarter. 8 minutes left, you keep getting to a point of attack, and you keep getting to the line. It disrupts their offense, or their lack thereof, and it ends the drought that you're in, especially when they go on an 11-0 run or an 8-0 run, and we haven't scored in 3 minutes. That gets you out of your funk. You know, so we were able to pull away the win with a 4-point victory. And even then, like trying to put it away at the end, we almost didn't do it. We went up 5, they came down, drained to 3. Okay? That kind of was scary. Because then they cut it, and then we had a couple chances to build a lead off our free throws, and we just kept missing it. It was just like pulling teeth. It's like we just couldn't slam the door and end a team like the Miami Heat, who are not good at all. Again, because of their lack of talent, and the only thing that really holds them afloat is Eric Spoelstra, in my eyes. Dwayne Wade, though, his final lap around the NBA. It's a shame to see him go away, because I still think he is prolific. He is 37. He's still getting it done, though. Guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's been a joy to watch him these past 16 years. Hate that what he does against the Sixers, but I'll be happy to see him move along so he can't be a thorn on our side anymore. But it's been fun to watch him the past 16 years. It really has. Definitely one of my favorite players of all time. Yo, I know, dude. That was vicious when they all went down there. And what a selling point, because you had Pat Riley. You had Eric Spoelstra, obviously, as a coach. I know him and LeBron butted heads, but who doesn't butt heads with LeBron? And then you had Pat Riley, and then you had Miami, just the city itself. It was handballs to JJ like 5 straight possessions. Yeah, I know. That's the only offensive play calls he does is you feed it to Embiid. And now that Embiid's out, it's like he's a puppy that's lost his way. He's like, what do? I don't have a beast to feed down on the post. So it's kind of just like when you're playing on the playground, and it's like, all right, y'all just go get your own points. It's very predictable. You got the dribble handoff to JJ. Sometimes you get pin downs. And then you've got feed and beat on the post. Nothing else. Everything else is just kind of... The only thing I like that Brett does is inbound passing. He knows how to draw up great plays for inbound passes. Okay? When he was in San Antonio, he was a great developmental coach. Okay, now that he's the head guy, flaws are really shining through. And we talked about it over and over and over again. And we'll just use that as an example, because I think it's kind of similar. When you had Golden State, when they were building their dynasty, okay, they did it through the draft. They got Clay, got Chef Curry, okay, Draymond, and they had Mark Jackson as a coach. So the year before Jackson was hired, they were 23 and whatever. I forget. But they were trash. Awful. They were in the top 10. They were in the lottery. Mark Jackson comes in, brings them up to 47 wins. Just like that. Okay? That's a 24 increase in 1 year. Gets them into the first round of the playoffs. They get knocked out. Second year, he upticks it to 51 wins. Okay? Now, you look at it, of course, it's a great team, but who could do that? But I still think he got shafted. Okay? But they make it past the first round. They make it to the semis against the Spurs, and they lose. Right after that, they fire him. I think he got dogged so bad because he was only there for 2 years. And it's like, what did he do wrong? He took a team that was shit, that had the players that they had. Okay, you didn't really give them a chance to really develop them. They had Steph Curry, they had Clay at that point, and Draymond. But he increased your win total each year, especially the first year he was there to jump 24 games. Impressive, right? But he didn't give him a chance to get him over that hump. Okay, then he got fired. They hired Steve Kerr. Now, there's been a lot of chatter of, is the same thing going to happen with the Sixers? Is Brett Brown the guy to get them over that hump? Who's going to be our Steve Kerr, our white whale, so to speak, to kind of bring them in and take them to the promised land? I would honestly think it would be... Because I don't think Brett Brown's going to get us there. He struggles against teams that play great defense, that are defensively schemed, like the Brad Stevens, the Eric Spoelstras, guys of that nature, right? So what happens, whatever he does or gets us, because after this trade, it's finals or bust in my eyes. Yeah, you talk about team chemistry, yada, yada, yada. But it's like you've had Jimmy here since November, and it's still like you still don't know how to incorporate him in the offense. So you can't, I feel like you can't use that excuse all too much by having these other new players when you even haven't incorporated the guy that we got all the way back in November, a month and a half into the season. But I don't think Brett is the guy to get us there. You can't really judge his first 4 years, really, because of the lack of talent on the team. I think those teams played better, but it kind of shined or hid his inefficiencies and his lack thereof basketball knowledge. So I don't know who our white whale will be, but it's definitely not Brett Brown. We'll just have to wait and see. This is like easy win we should get. You should be able to feel confident. You sit your best player, Embiid, get him better. Nothing's probably wrong with his knee, because he was out there dancing around, I think at a concert or with somebody. He was playing in the All-Star game. If it was that serious of an injury, he wouldn't have been playing 23 minutes in the All-Star game. It's an excuse just to rest him. Not a big deal. Guy's big. He has a huge injury history, as we all know. And you want to covet that and make sure that nothing happens to him, because he makes or breaks the Sixers, honestly. He's the engine that makes us go. So you rest him, get him rest up. We should be able to beat Portland, too. Now, with this trade that we acquired, all these superstar, well, not superstar, but other great players that we have in Tobias Harris, and along with Jimmy Butler to go around with Ben Simmons. And you got the role players sprinkled in there. It's all how you use them and execute plays. That's all on Brett Brown. A lot of it. So it will be a test of time to see if we can win without JoJo against these good teams in the West. A little worried about the Portland game, and definitely going out there to OKC without the big guy in the middle. But if Boban can go in here and produce like he did tonight, then we have a better chance. Because there's no way we're going to shoot, again, 25, 26% from downtown. It was just not our night. It wasn't JJ's night. He wasn't on. And a lot of the times when we do shoot that poorly, JJ isn't in the lineup. But he was in the lineup, and he just wasn't on. We were just ice cold. And that could have to do that we haven't played in a week. So we got to get that shit up. We got to knock that rust off and get ready to make this push. Last year, I mean, we're way ahead of the curve, because last year before the All-Star break, I think we were, what, 32-25? Or 30-25? Then we went on that 16-game run and ended up with 52 wins. Well, what, we were 37 wins going into the All-Star break. Just got our 38th. So we continue that, and I'll answer your questions in a second, guys. I'm not ignoring you, just to let you out. Just to let you know. But if we could continue to build this and smoke teams like Miami and put them in their place with having our best player rest up, I mean, it's all beauty and all gravy. It's learning from your mistakes, though, which we've kind of struggled to do, like we have struggled to do in the past and continue to do. So, how y'all feel? Do y'all think Brett Brown's our white whale and able to take us over to that next level to get us that championship? Because there's a lot of pressure on this team. Much like there'll be a lot of pressure on the Phillies if they don't sign Bryce Harper. It's just Brett Brown's scheme. There really is no scheme. There's not. It's just like you're learning or playing on the fly out there with him. Because 8 minutes and 25 seconds, you've been getting to the line and stopping their runs in the fourth quarter, and you're trying to get back in it, and you don't attack the basket, which got you there the entire time, which kept you in the game and gave you a lead at one point earlier in the first half. But yet, I mean, that's just a gift wrap right there. It's a gift wrap layup to have them in the penalty with 8 minutes left. You would have the defense on their heels if you continue to attack, because they're not going to want to foul you, so it would open up shots. Who do you think they will finish? Tough, because the East is stacked, as you see with the Bucks and the Raptors and how well the Celtics are playing now. Indiana's still continuing to win without their best player. If they can go on a run, because the toughest part of our schedule is over, and we do have some cupcake teams coming up, but as you see, you get a little worried that we can't put the games away. They're always nail-biters. I think they're going to end up with the 4th seed, honestly, at this point. Tom, it's nerve-wracking, okay? Yeah, there's going to be some adjustment period with Brett having these new players, but my point is, look what Jimmy's been here, and you haven't incorporated him into the offense really at all. They're trying to start him out at point to get him more involved, but I still think when you get the big games coming up, we're going to need more than like 17 and 18 points out of Jimmy. I want to at least see 25, 30 out of Jimmy. He's a closer. He's a guy you can lean on offensively. It happened with the Sacramento game. If you guys remember, they didn't go to him all game. And then when you rely on him in the fourth quarter, what did he do? He produced. He got us close to being in that game and trying to win that game, even though we lost because we struggled with them. It's just, it's worrisome. We should have been able to handle this team no problem at all. I would say 15-point win we should have ended up with. But that defensive scheme by Eric Spoelstra, it was dynamite tonight. And it's Brett Brown's Achilles heel. That's what you kind of expect from a guy that's learned under Popovich. Spoelstra learned from Pat Riley. But a scheme like that you saw, the lack of talent there, and they're able to shut down an offensive juggernaut that is the Sixers. But then there's the lack thereof of Brett not being able to draw up an offensive scheme, too. It's very frustrating. It's a head-scratcher. It really is. The simple stuff that you would think you would pay attention to in the game that he just completely misses. It's the rotations and the inability to take advantage of a team when they're on the ropes. I've been saying all along, I would love to have Mark Jackson with this team, I wanted Lloyd Pierce if we didn't get rid of him. And it's not just Brett, okay? He gets the brunt of it because he's the head coach. But it's Billy Lang, it's Monty Williams. They freaking stink too. Last year, Billy Lang was offensive assistant. Now you move him to defensive assistant. It's like when Andy Reid hired Juan Castillo and made him, he was an offensive line coach and made him a defensive coordinator. Like, what are you doing? Lloyd Pierce was such a huge success to the Sixers last year. He walked, and you see what he's starting to build with Atlanta now. Great coach that slipped through our fingers. I would have loved to have him. I'm trying to think who else would be out there. If Mike Brown would ever leave Golden State, I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him. I honestly like Mark Jackson a lot, though. I believe he got dogged all those years ago. I don't know if he'll ever want to leave the booth, though. Yeah, I like Eric Spoelstra, too, but I don't see Miami getting rid of him. Pat Riley's still the owner. Well, not the owner, but the basketball operations overseer. I don't know if they'd ever let him go. He's a very good coach. If he ever hit the market, I would pray that they would go after him. Doc too. I don't see the Clippers getting rid of Doc. I would love to have either of those guys over Mark Jackson. If we could trade for Doc, he got traded, from Orlando to the Celtics. So if we could trade for him, I'd do it. You'd probably that Orlando trade though, they gave up Celtics gave up 2 first-round picks. It was ugly, broads. Terrible. Yeah, Alvin Gentry. If the Pelicans ever fire him, I would love him too. I don't think they'd get rid of him, though. All these guys are still head coaches, unfortunately. The bench is very shaky. We got 12 points out of them tonight to Miami's 41. Luke Walton? Hell no. Smooth, that's your guys' team. That's your coach of the year. Then you got MVP and Mike Muscala. Nah, you keep them. Keep both of them. It's just all about executing the scheme and having good assistants under you. And Billy Lang and Monty Williams are not getting it done. So whatever happens at the end of this season, both of them should get right out the door. Gone. See ya. I wonder if, Juwan Howard ever goes for a head coaching job. If Derek Fisher ever comes back to be an assistant. Yeah, we did win, Styles, but it was ugly. It was against Miami. We should have smoked this team. If Jay Wright ever takes a flyer in the professional league, in the NBA, I'd definitely call him up. And he's in our backyard, so I feel like Elton Brand would be all over that if he ever had interest in coming in the NBA. I didn't even really think about college coaches, but that's definitely a possibility as well. It's a new team, just needs some time to get adjusted. But how long are we going to stay that, Styles? How long? Jimmy's been here since the first month and a half of the season he wasn't here, but he's been here since November, and he's still not acclimated into the offense at all. That is on the coaching staff 100%. Yes, they are newer players, but you have to have something else other than feed Embiid and a dribble handoff to J.J. Redick. That's like the only offensive scheme I see out there. Nobody cuts the basket. And thank God for TJ's energy tonight and getting the steals when we needed it. Nah, you're going to have him, Smooth. You can have Brett Brown. We'll trade you Brett Brown for Brandon Ingram. Let's do that. Seems like an even trade. But it's struggled. But again, it's not all on Brett Brown because you've got Monty Williams and Billy Lang to blame too. And you took an offensive guy, a coach, offensive assistant, and made him a defensive assistant out of nowhere. Not sure where the decision was there. It was kind of just like a quick move, like, oh, we just lost Lloyd Pierce, great coach, and we're just going to fill a slot real quick with Billy Lang. We'll just move you over and then bring in Monty Williams. Ugh. But Elton Brand's a bright guy. I think he could take care of that and notice the inefficiencies that do happen. And I think he has the gall, or at least I pray he has the gall and the nuts to fire Brett Brown if it ever comes to that. Because Colangelo was going to fire Brett Brown after this season. If he was still GM, he was gone. He wasn't Colangelo's guy. That's Hinkie's guy. The one mistake I think Hinkie actually had, one flaw, would be hiring Brett Brown. And he does, I don't want to completely attack the guy because he does look like a good coach from time to time. It's just like stupid shit like that I just mentioned, where it's like, it's inconsistencies is what it is. Nah, you ain't getting Ben Simmons. Not now, at least. Eventually, he might be a Laker, but not right now. But that's it. We got Portland. It's a very free-flowing offense under Brown. We were defensively minded team until this year. Yeah, it's because we lost Lloyd Pierce. That's why. That's the biggest reason. But Brett came from the Popovich tree, so he should be able to pound in defensive schemes and all that stuff. He was with Popovich for 14 years, and that's what Pops built his empire off of, his defensive basketball. You got to have better assistants, though. If Gentry does get fired, bring him in, either for an assistant or a head coach. I think if Mike D'Antoni was still here and Colangelo, they were going to fire Brett Brown and make him a head coach. So thank Christ that didn't happen. You think to be a Warriors replacement of Mark Jackson's solution? Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier, Styles. Who's going to be our white whale, so to speak? Kind of like the Warriors had Mark Jackson, fired him, and then they hired Steve Kerr. Who's going to be our coach to get us over that hump? That's still the big question mark, because I don't think Brett Brown is going to lead us to a championship. I really don't. I don't think he has the intelligence or the basketball knowledge to get us there, because I've seen the same shit for the past 6 seasons. Turnovers, and yeah, you couldn't really draw any offense around the talent that he had earlier in his career as head coach, but what's the excuses now? I don't think either, Smooth. I really don't. And I hate to say that because I used to be a Brett Brown guy. I was a huge supporter of him. I wasn't the biggest fan of Jason Kidd. Some players just can't coach. You think being a great floor general, they'd be able to come in here and just do it like that. There has been a lot of players that haven't had success. More so, actually, a huge majority haven't. Yeah, you got Jason Kidd, you got Bill Russell, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Derek Fisher, Jay Kidd. We gave Brett Brown a 3-year extension last summer. I like Brett. I mean, what do you like about him? Do you really think he can get us to the promised land with this team? I think his inability to create and do rotations are a little mind-boggling. Hey, Gaff, me, all I could say is we looked ordinary. What up, Rod? Yep, but look what Ben Simmons did. He killed it. Struggled earlier in the first half, and then he put it behind him, which I was happy. Usually he gets in his head and he struggles for the entire game. He didn't do that. He went straight to attacking the basket on the post. He went right to his post game, and I thought he was great down there in the second half. He actually willed us to that win. Yeah, the bench was terrible tonight, 12 points. The only good thing from the bench was TJ's energy to get a couple assists and a few steals. He was that spark that we needed off the bench. He's not going to do it with his points. He's going to do it with his energy and his ability to be like a pest defensively. He was awesome. We have to re-sign that man. He's the heartbeat of the Sixers. He really is. He brings it night in and night out. And even with them little elbow jumpers that he does, running around, he's great all around. He's starting to even add the sideline jumper in there too. 3-and-D, feed Embiid. Exactly, and that needs to change. Because we didn't have Embiid tonight. And it's like Brett Brown doesn't know what to do. Like, thank God Boban. I thought they were going to start doing a lot of the two-way with Boban. A lot of screen and rolls with him, but they didn't do that. He was effective tonight. I didn't think we'd get 19 points and 12 boards out of him. I thought he played exceptional. You got a big test, though, against guarding the perimeter against Portland and OKC. I mean, they're not the greatest three-point shooting team, but defensively, Billy Donovan have got them playing on fire. What you mean? Yeah, he's huge, but That don't mean anything. Just because you're big doesn't mean you're going to be good. I'd still like to see him not put the ball down as much because look how many steals they got off of him tonight when he did that. Once he catches it, he's just got to put it straight up. He is slow. But if you look at how he played tonight, playing against when we had him in against the Celtics against Horford and Tice, he got killed because of how quick they were. They were smaller than him, but their speed took him over. Zaire Smith's not playing this season, Big Fish. That was the second point I wanted to get to. So yet another first-round pick of the Sixers who is going to sit out their rookie season and be redshirted, which really sucks because I was excited to see what we were going to get out of the kid. They expect him to get some games in with the Bluecoats, but he is not going to suit up for the 76ers this season. We lost Furkan, tore ACL. He's done for the year. Not that he really produced anyway, but it's a guy that could put up some shots and knows the offense. Who's got a quick release. You got Shake Milton with that broken thumb down there with the blue coats. Bench is starting to get a little thinned out. It's terrible, man. I think he could play. I think it's the Sixers just sitting him out and redshirting him because of the success they've had with all the other, especially Embiid and Simmons. They're probably figuring it's worked. We're not going to mention the other guys like Fultz and Nerlens. Well, he did look lost, Rob, but he hasn't played in 4 games. So the flow of him getting him acclimated with the offense again, Brett not putting him in the rotation, we can't bring Brewer back. He's with the Kings. But yeah, he's been coach's decision not playing for the past 4 games. So it's going to take him some time. And it sucks because he fought, and he's another Australian guy. Is he a big fan favorite down there? Obviously not as much as Simmons. But, hell no. I don't want Melo. The Lakers can have him. Nah, I don't want Melo. Screw that. I don't know if they're going to bring up Honeywell. I don't even know that. Highsmith, whoever the hell that guy's name is. Because Shake is hurt still, but I would like for him to even just stay on the roster. Melo's old. He's done. He needs to retire. Melo is toast. Yeah, I know. That sucks we let Markieff Morris go. Or not go, that we didn't even pursue him. I think he would have been a good addition, but look at all the stretch 4s we have now. I don't really think we have room for him. And I don't like, and that last set with small ball towards the end of the game, I don't like Ben Simmons playing the 5. That's one spot I don't like him in. He's not a center. He's not a shot blocker. The most I want him playing is at the 4. He is not a 5 at all. So they gotta, again, that's the rotations with Brett. Stop that experiment, please. But win's a win, like I said. It was ugly as hell. It's the first game in a week. First NBA action in a week. The All-Star game was complete trash. They should just get rid of it. The most exciting thing of that weekend was the three-point competition because you had big names in it. The dunk contest was a complete joke. They really have to change something about the NBA All-Star game. It sucks. It is so boring. And I got all hyped for the World versus USA. You got the young and up-and-coming kids. I thought they'd actually play. It's just as bad as the All-Star game. Nobody plays any defense. You got guys that are playing on different teams giving assists to each other for the dunk. What's the point? I don't want to pay to see that shit. I don't even know why they put it on TV. Hope Embiid is back for the OKC game. I hope he is. I don't know if he will, though. What about Jim Boeheim? No. Chill Curry dunk? What do you mean? Dude, it was corny, man. You like the All-Star game? It's nothing like it was in the early 2000s. I still will never forget. And I don't like that they pick teams now. It should always be East versus West. Always. Okay? But I will still never forget when AI was on the East and they were down. I forget what it was, 15 points or so, but he willed that team to victory. He took it and put that team on his back, and they were playing straight up defense, hard defense. They actually tried back in the day. Okay, it was a whole pride thing. Now it's just like these athletes are such prima donnas. It's like, oh, I don't want to get hurt, or they're a bunch of bitches. And the only All-Star game that I like, your Pro Bowl's garbage too, is baseball. It's the only one they actually try in. The others, baseball or basketball, football, and they don't try. It's a waste of time and money. The game last night, I missed that, J.R. Smooth. I don't know if you want to give them incentives to get paid more money or whatever it is, but the trash they put out there, I even looked to get tickets to go to the All-Star game. $5,000. Yeah, the Home Run Derby's awesome. The All-Star game's awesome. I like that during the baseball All-Star game, that whoever won that got home field advantage for the World Series. I wish they never changed that. I thought that was a great incentive for teams to play hard because you're actually playing for something. Maybe put in some guaranteed incentives for winners. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they still do get paid if they win, but I don't know if they want to make it a little more lucrative. And I know that's why the big names don't enter the dunk contest anymore. Because even back in the day, you had all the big names. You had Jordan going up against Dominique Wilkins. Like, look at this last year's All-Star game. Or dunk contest. John Collins, Dennis Smith Jr., Hamidou Diallo, who won it, which I thought all his dunks were corny. Like, what the hell was that? I was literally falling asleep during All-Star Weekend. Got hyped for the World vs. USA. Turned that shit off after about 10 minutes because nobody played any defense. It was just running up and down the court. I'm over the Bryce Harper drama. Sign, don't sign. Yeah, I'm over it too. They're dragging it out. He's doing this, though, Big Fish, because he wants a West Coast team to match what the Phillies are offering. Yeah, you could say it's about, money this and money that. That could be, but I think his main incentive is he wants to play to closest home as possible. And that would be on the West Coast. He lives in Vegas. He wants to be around friends and family. So he's trying to get the money and be close to home. Manny Machado picked the Padres. He picked money over winning. The whole point, I feel like, is to win. Yeah, you want to get paid, but the amount of money these guys get paid anymore is sickening. And I think it's ruining sports, to be honest. That's a whole nother rant, though. It's unaffordable to go to any games anyway. You got to pay like $300 to take your family out there. Nah, no, he's not. Mike Trout, I don't know why everybody assumes Mike Trout's just going to come and play for the Phillies because, he's from Jersey and he's an Eagles fan. He's never once mentioned he was a Phillies fan. He never once mentioned that he had interest in playing in Philly. You know what I mean? So I'm not banking on that at all. Why would you leave sunny California? He's got it made over there. He's a god over here. There could be all about winning, but I don't see him leaving the Angels because they could be in contention. Maybe more entertaining watching people dunk on Instagram. Yeah, legit. Some of them dunkers I've watched on Instagram are a lot better than those, dude. Like, jumping over a Shaq and just hanging from it with, it's all about pizzazz with the dunk contest anymore. It's not about the quality of the dunk. It's all the props you can incorporate. It's like a freaking TV drama series or some shit. So they have to change that because I haven't watched it. This is the first time I've watched it in about 15 years. And I regretted it after watching the first 10, 15 minutes, and I turned it off. The three-point contest was dope. Definitely good. But the other two, corny. And I'm going to pay $5,000 to watch that? Yeah, all right. I know, it was cool. Yeah, exactly. The guy missed a dunk 4 times. They gave him, I think, or they gave Miles Bridges 4 chances the one time and still gave him a 50. But Sixers win, 38 wins. They looked ugly. Was it All-Star rust? Or was it because this team just still isn't gelling? Is chemistry that big of a factor right now? And is it going to be enough time for them to gel to be able to take them all the way to the finals? That is the question. That is the biggest question. Or is it Brett Brown? You guys let me know in the comments section. Thanks for listening. Basketball's back, thank God. And when the hell will we find out if Bryce Harper is going to sign with our beloved Phillies? What you think, Charlie? I want to see another World Series, so get it done. This is Kyle Gaffner with the Bitter Birds. God damn, that was ugly. But JoJo's out for a week, and